So today we will be making spaghetti squash fritters with a spicy sour cream on the side. I hope you enjoy them, and thanks for watching. So today we are going to be making spaghetti squash fritters. There's a few ingredients. The hardest or longest part of this recipe is going to be cooking our spaghetti squash. The things you'll need is some sea salt or kosher salt, zest of a lemon, an egg or two, depending on how many of these you're making, some garlic, some part skim milk ricotta, a little bit of almond flour, fresh basil, of course your spaghetti squash, some light sour cream, sriracha sauce, and pepper. So those are our ingredients. We're going to start off with the spaghetti squash, and we'll get that started. So we'll start with the spaghetti squash since that takes the longest because we have to wait for it to cook. What we're going to do is cut our spaghetti squash in half. We will scrape the seeds out with a spoon. And then what we'll do is place both halves of the spaghetti squash face down in a roasting pan with about 1 inch of water in it. It's got water in it. And we're going to place them flesh side down in the pan. And then we'll stick it in the oven at 450 for about 30-40 minutes, or until when you fill the spaghetti squash in the pan, you want it to be nice and soft. And we'll go from there. So we're going to mix all of our ingredients together except for our spaghetti squash for right now. I'm making a double batch. I have friends and family coming over tonight, so that's why I'm making such a big batch of these. Otherwise, you can reduce all the ingredients in half if you just want a single batch. We're going to be using, so I'm going to be using 2 eggs, a handful of basil. We're going to use some lemon zest. We're going to be using about 8 ounces of ricotta, so half of this container. 4 tablespoons of almond meal. If you're following the 5-1 program, nutrition support says that 2 tablespoons equal a healthy fat. We'll be using about 4 tablespoons of olive oil and 4 cloves of garlic. So let's get that started. So once our spaghetti squash cools, we are going to take it out of its little shell here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to run a fork along, scraping it out, and it will be very, very stringy, like spaghetti. See? And then we'll add it to our mixture that we've prepared. You want to make sure your spaghetti squash is cool, otherwise you'll end up with scrambled eggs in your mixture. 1.5 cups of spaghetti squash is 1 serving, so we are going to be doubling that to 3 cups for what I'm making tonight. 1.5 cups of spaghetti squash equals 3 servings of greens, if you're following Lean and Green Guide. Now to add our spaghetti squash to our mixture, I'm going to use my hand. It's my favorite mixing tool. Make sure you wash your hands first if that's what you're going to do. Otherwise, you can use a spoon or whatever you prefer, but I like using my hand. So I'm going to put 3 cups of my spaghetti squash into the mixture, and then I'm just going to mix it all together. I don't usually add salt and pepper to stuff beforehand, except for when I'm cooking meat. I like to kind of mix it around, give it a smell, and kind of see what I need. I am going to add a little salt and pepper to this. Not very much, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of each, but not very much. You want the flavors of the cheese and the spaghetti squash to be tasted. Also, The ricotta cheese and the egg count as a protein. So if you wanted to do this dish for meatless Mondays, or if you have a day that you don't eat meat, this is always a good one to do. We don't always eat meat at my house. A lot of times we do vegetarian dishes and stuff like that, just to give our bodies a break. And there's our mixture. Next, we are going to cook them in a pan and see what we get. So now it's time to start cooking them. And you can use any skillet you have. You just want a big skillet. I have this nifty little pancake pan, so it's got little wells in it to make pancakes. But this is what I use for my fritters because they're just about the perfect size. But you can use any skillet you want. And what you want to do is you just want to spray with a little olive oil. And so I spray with a little olive oil. And I just lightly coat the pan. That's just for sticking purposes. I'm going to do both sides of mine. Mine has 2 sides. But in the skillet, you just want to put some in the bottom, kind of rub it around. You don't want things to stick. That would be no fun. And then what you're going to do is just kind of a big heaping tablespoon is about 1/4 cup of the mixture. So you're going to put a big heaping tablespoon of your mixture. You don't want them too thin, but you don't want them super duper thick either. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot longer to cook. And these are going to cook for about 5 minutes on each side. You want them to be cooked all the way through. You want them to be nice and browned on both sides. We go, almost done. Nice and browned on both sides. And about 5 of these would be a lean and green serving. Tonight I'll only be serving 3 per person because we're also going to be doing some grilled chicken and a small salad. The great part about this recipe is you can put any seasonings you like. I'll be serving this with a little bit of sour cream and sriracha sauce, but if you wanted to use a little light marinara sauce to put on top, if you like rosemary, you can put rosemary in it. I always learned growing up the best part of cooking is you can make it any way you want. And if people don't like it, they don't have to eat it. So that's why I cook, because I know I always like it. So here we go, cooking both sides 4 minutes. So cooking those 4 or 5 minutes on one side, then I'm going to flip them over and we're going to do the other side. And hopefully they don't stick like mine. Well, almost off. See how that works. Sometimes it's a little easier to do it in a regular pan, because you can just flip with a spatula, but this is what they look like on one side so far, and now we're going to get the other side cooking. So now that we have our fritters cooked on both sides, what I'm going to do to serve them with is just about a teaspoon of light sour cream, and to that I'm going to add just a little bit of sriracha sauce because I like my food spicy, and it's a really nice garlicky flavor to this. So we're just going to mix that up and serve. Voila! So thanks for watching my tutorial on my spaghetti squash fritters. I hope you enjoy them. As always, be kind to yourself, eat healthy, and your body will thank you for it. Till next time.